This is big breaking emergency news. This is a red alert warning. We are now seeing explosions and attacks, and federal authorities are investigating attacks on U.S. military bases inside the United States right now, right? And something else that's going on that's very suspicious is that we have this plane flying over this exact military base that is under attack and having explosions at, right? So this is big. This is major for our country. Let's get into the details here really quick. Please hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm posting multiple videos a day, keeping you guys updated on this big urgent news, all right? And it helps to get these warnings out. So you can see here, this is one of the doomsday planes, right? There's multiple different ones. This is one of them. This is a current live situation. And I was just checking. I was like, I wonder if something's going on, if they're checking this out. And what do you know? This doomsday plane taking off from DC, looks like right outside of DC. And look at where it's flying over, right? Very suspicious that this is happening at the same exact time. All right, so I want you to see here, see this blue line. All right, this is the path of this quote doomsday plane. This is one of them. All right, this is one of the nuclear command centers, airborne centers for the U.S. military. All right, and you can see here they flew right over Joint Base Little Creek, Fort Story, right? And that is exactly where this incident just happened, right? So something's going on, and they're having this plane fly over this exact military base right after this happens. So this was potentially something big, right? And we're seeing federal authorities investigate this. This is currently happening live Sunday night. This is a flight. All right, so this is what's happening currently. It says, according to U.S. Navy officials this morning at roughly 3:40 a.m., a vehicle attempted to enter the Expeditionary Base Little Creek Fort Story in Norfolk, Virginia, and ran the front gate, causing security forces to place the base on lockdown and raise the hydraulic access barriers, which the vehicle subsequently collided with and caught fire with and exploded. Right? It says the base fire service was activated and the fire was extinguished. However, the driver was declared deceased at the scene instantly, and says the incident is being investigated by the NCIS and other federal agencies. That's what the Navy is saying right now. And then at the same time, we have this plane flying over, right? So they're potentially on high alert at U.S. military bases right now. And it doesn't make sense that this car would have caught on fire and exploded. And to be able to get through these barriers, and they have to raise the hydraulic access barriers, they're able to get through the first set and raise the emergency barriers and slam into them, right? That means that this had to be on purpose. This wasn't just like, oh, somebody hit the gas or something. This was multiple layers of barriers, and they rammed into it so hard, apparently, that their car caught on fire and exploded, which isn't really normal either for cars to just explode like this. Potentially, there was some kind of explosives inside of the vehicle, and that could have been the reason why it exploded and caught on fire like this, okay? And that could be why this person was declared deceased right away. Why would somebody do this? Just ram into, was this some kind of attack on our military base? It doesn't make sense that somebody would just do this, ram into these gates. They had hundreds of feet to stop after crashing through the first gates before they rammed into the hydraulic access barriers. And something's going on. This doesn't make sense. And we're not sure exactly what gate they were trying to access, but there's multiple different gates going into this military base. Could have potentially been this one, right? Multiple different bases or multiple different gates leading into the base that could have been breached, okay? But most likely there is a first gate that they got through, and then they activated hydraulic gates over here, most likely what these are, okay? That will stop the cars. So they should have had time to stop. So the fact that this person rammed into it so hard that their car burst into flame and exploded is not normal, and it could have had something. They could have just been gunning for it and trying to get inside the base to do damage. And the fact that they are investigating this seems like it could be criminal, and most likely is a criminal investigation, right? You can see here's another story. It says driver fatally crashes into hydraulic barricade at Joint Base Little Creek Fort Story, right? And it says that this happened at 3:40 a.m. So this was just late at night, right? This all doesn't make sense. It's all sketchy, doesn't make sense. And somebody could accidentally turn into here, right? I've turned into bases on accident, right? Just didn't realize, turn on the wrong road, just traveling around in our RV, right? Just in a new city. I've done that before, and they just let you turn around. They're super nice. You can just turn around really quick, right? It's no big deal. So there shouldn't have been any issue. But it says they didn't even stop for a security check or anything, right? So something could be going on. And just last month, there was some guy who's not a U.S. citizen. He entered the country illegally, admittedly, and his country of origin is China, and he rushed onto a military base. This was in California. I can't remember the name of the base, and he refused to leave. He rushed onto the base and just was camping out and not talking to anyone or telling anyone his name or anything or his details. And this could have been a dry run for an attack, right? So this is big that this is happening domestically, right? We could see something like this. We have the FBI warning of all these different attacks that could happen inside the United States, and now we're seeing cars explode on U.S. military bases, right? So let me know what you guys think of this situation. Do you think this was potentially an attack on a U.S. military base domestically, right? Why would somebody do this? The behavior doesn't make sense, and the story doesn't make sense either, that the car exploded and catches on fire and the person's instantly gone, right? So this is your warning sign to be prepared and be ready, because even if the U.S. military is not prepared, heavily armed military bases are potentially targets now. Then soft targets are going to be even more vulnerable, right? And they could become an even bigger target in the future, right? So be able to protect yourself, defend yourself, and try your best to migrate out of these major cities and major population areas. I mean, look at where this is happening. This is right outside of Washington, D.C. This is an extremely packed area, and the base was on lockdown, right? And think about all these drills that they've been doing. They just did a drill in Virginia that I was talking about a few days ago with the National Guard and law enforcement for a radiological, biological, chemical, nuclear event inside of Virginia, right? So just imagine if this was something along those lines. We could see lockdowns, martial law scenarios in these regions, right? At least regionally, we could see lockdowns, have the military deployed, National Guard deployed, and ready to go because they're on high alert, right? So make sure you guys are getting prepared. Make sure you're getting stocked up. Please hit it up for me down there. It helps to get that warning out so people know. And stuff's happening, right? This plane flew right by this base, right? This happened early this morning, and now we have this doomsday plane flying right by the base. And the chaos has been spreading already. This summer, we really could see a lot of commotion. We could see big things pop off like we did in 2020. It seems like the fuses are being lit, the agitations are happening, the paid protests, agitations, organizations, they're all coming together, getting ready. We could see a big 2024, right? A big summer event and all this stuff happening, right? We could see stuff pop off. So just be prepared, be ready, have your preps ready to go, stocked up, your prepper pantry filled up. Okay, that's critical. And also be able to protect yourself and your loved ones, because you never know, right? We could see some kind of events, and you never know, you could be at the wrong place, the wrong time, and that one time, right, you might regret it, that you weren't ready, you weren't prepared. And how can we protect our military bases and protect our country when our border is wide open and our country is wide open, and when things like this are happening, right? Every country on earth is exploiting our open border system, and there are potentially bad actors that are slipping through the cracks that are causing chaos, organized chaos, and attacks as well, right? You can see here it says 6 reasons Chinese nationals are illegally crossing California's southern border, right? This is skyrocketing like we've never seen before. The numbers this year, right? There's over 30,000 people that have crossed just this year. That eclipses all the past 5 years combined, right? That have just crossed this fiscal year in the past 6 months. So the past 6 months, there have been more people crossing from China than there have the past 5 years combined. This is insane, right? And it's just being allowed to happen. And every country on earth is exploiting this vulnerability. And there's potentially people coming in that want to attack the United States and cause chaos inside the United States. And look at these reasons they're giving, right? They're insane. San Diego has infrastructure. It's easy to get in. They let you in, right? It's just easy. You can just come on in and get all this stuff, and we don't know who's attacking our military bases or our country. We're wide open, we're vulnerable, and we could potentially be paying for it, okay? And they're saying we're paying these groups, these illegal groups that move people, traffic people across their border. They're the ones getting paid from this. They're getting tens of thousands of dollars per person because they can just do it. A better life. Chinese influence on America. And you can even see here that people are warning of this. You can see here it says the former Border Patrol chief pointed to reports that Chinese nationals are, quote, systematically coming into the United States and buying foreign property, and buying property near military bases as evidence that they are crossing the border intentionally. All right, so coming over here, buying property near military bases, buying farms, all these things. And it's a national security risk to have our country wide open like this, and potential adversarial countries can buy land near military bases. And this was actually happening where they had these Huawei towers. They were setting up fake towers on these farms out here outside of military bases that were intercepting the military cell phone communications, right? They set up like their own little Stinger tower to intercept the cell phone signals, right? And it was these Huawei towers that they were using on these farms near military bases, and they were worried that they were potentially, at all their phone calls, everything was just going through this tower that they owned and controlled, right? And it's because they were able to set up this technology right next to a military base, right? So our military bases are being targeted, and we potentially just saw a major targeting today, right? And they're also being targeted for things like cyber attacks as well, to knock out power systems and water systems, because the military and civilian infrastructure share the same infrastructure, okay? They use the same power company, same power lines. The military does. U.S. military bases as civilians do. It's not like they have their own nuclear reactor on site or anything like that, or coal power plant on site. They're just using what is available in the region. And if we see attacks on critical infrastructure like that, it could wipe out the U.S. military's infrastructure as well, and their ability to respond to any type of events or attacks, right? Because if the power was out there, their hydraulic fences wouldn't have worked, wouldn't have gone up, right? So this car would have been able to drive in potentially with explosives and get deeper inside the base, right? So that's what we're dealing with here. And you need to be on high alert, red alert, and be prepared as much as possible, as much as you can. All right, so thank you guys. Hope you have big blessings for your life, your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.